Meditation, delivered at the Washington Hall, San Francisco, April 3, 1900. Meditation has been laid stress upon by all religions. The meditative state of mind is declared by the yogis to be the highest state in which the mind exists. When the mind is studying the external object, it gets identified with it, loses itself. To use the simile of the old Indian philosopher, the soul of man is like a piece of crystal, but it takes the color of whatever is near it. Whatever the soul touches, it has to take its color. That is the difficulty. That constitutes the bondage. The color is so strong, the crystal forgets itself and identifies itself with the color. Suppose a red flower is near the crystal, and the crystal takes the color and forgets itself, thinks it is red. We have taken the color of the body and have forgotten what we are. All the difficulties that follow come from that one dead body. All our fears, all worries, anxieties, troubles, mistakes, weakness, evil are from that one great blunder that we are bodies. This is the ordinary person. It is the person taking the color of the flower near to it. We are no more bodies than the crystal is the red flower. The practice of meditation is pursued. The crystal knows what it is, takes its own color. It is meditation that brings us nearer to truth than anything else. In India, two persons meet. In English, they say, "How do you do?" The Indian greeting is, "Are you upon yourself?" The moment you stand upon something else, you run the risk of being miserable. This is what I mean by meditation, the soul trying to stand upon itself. That state must surely be the healthiest state of the soul, when it is thinking of itself, residing in its own glory. No, all the other methods that we have, by exciting emotions, prayers, and all that, really have that one end in view. In deep emotional excitement, the soul tries to stand upon itself. Although the emotion may arise from anything external, there is concentration of mind. There are three stages in meditation. The first is what is called dharana, concentrating the mind upon an object. I try to concentrate my mind upon this glass, excluding every other object from my mind except this glass. But the mind is wavering. When it has become strong and does not waver so much, it is called dhyana, meditation. And then there is a still higher state when the differentiation between the glass and myself is lost, samadhi or absorption. The mind and the glass are identical. I do not see any difference. All the senses stop, and all powers that have been working through other channels of other senses are focused in the mind. Then this glass is under the power of the mind entirely. This is to be realized. It is a tremendous play played by the yogis. Take for granted the external object exists. Then that which is really outside of us is not what we see. The glass that I see is not the external object, certainly. That external something which is the glass I do not know and will never know. Something produces an impression upon me. Immediately I send the reaction towards that, and the glass is the result of the combination of these two. Action from outside, X. Action from inside, Y. The glass is XY. When you look at X, call it external world. At Y, internal world. If you try to distinguish which is your mind and which is the world, there is no such distinction. The world is the combination of you and something else. Let us take another example. You are dropping stones upon the smooth surface of a lake. Every stone you drop is followed by a reaction. The stone is covered by the little waves in the lake. Similarly, external things are like the stones dropping into the lake of the mind. So we do not really see the external, we see the wave only. These waves that rise in the mind have caused many things outside. We are not discussing the merits of idealism and realism. We take for granted that things exist outside, but what we see is different from things that exist outside, as we see what exists outside plus ourselves. Suppose I take my contribution out of the glass. What remains? Almost nothing. The glass will disappear. If I take my contribution from the table, what would remain of the table? Certainly not this table. because it was a mixture of the outside plus my contribution. The poor lake has got to throw the wave towards the stone whenever the stone is thrown in it. The mind must create the wave towards any sensation. Suppose we can withhold the mind. At once we are masters. We refuse to contribute our share to all these phenomena. If I do not contribute my share, it has got to stop. You are creating this bondage all the time. How? By putting in your share. We are all making our own beds, forging our own chains. When the identifying ceases between this external object and myself, then I will be able to take my contribution off, and this thing will disappear. Then I will say, here is the glass, and then take my mind off, and it disappears. If you can take away your share, you can walk upon water. Why should it drown you any more? What of poison? No more difficulties. In every phenomenon in nature, you contribute at least half, and nature brings half. If your half is taken off, the thing must stop. To every action, there is equal reaction. If a man strikes me and wounds me, it is that man's actions and my body's reaction. Suppose I have so much power over the body that I can resist even that automatic action. Can such power be attained? The books say it can. If you stumble on it, it is a miracle. If you learn it scientifically, it is yoga. I have seen people healed by the power of mind. There is the miracle worker. We say he prays, and the man is healed. Another man says, not at all. It is just the power of the mind. The man is scientific. He knows what he is about. The power of meditation gets us everything. If you want to get power over nature, you can have it through meditation. It is through the power of meditation all scientific facts are discovered today. They study the subject and forget everything, their own identity and everything, and then the great fact comes like a flash. Some people think that is inspiration. There is no more inspiration than there is expiration, and never was anything got for nothing. The highest so called inspiration was the work of Jesus. He worked hard for ages in previous births. That was the result of his previous work, hard work. It is all nonsense to talk about inspiration. Had it been, it would have fallen like rain. Inspired people in any line of thought only come among nations who have general education and culture. There is no inspiration. Whatever passes for inspiration is the result that comes from causes already in the mind. One day, flash comes the result. Their past work was the cause. Therein also you see the power of meditation, intensity of thought. These men churn up their own souls. Great truths come to the surface and become manifest. Therefore, the practice of meditation is the great scientific method of knowledge. There is no knowledge without the power of meditation. From ignorance, superstition, etc., we can get cured by meditation for the time being and no more. Suppose a man has told me that if you drink such a poison, you will be killed, and another man comes in the night and says, go drink the poison, and I am not killed. What happens is this: my mind cut out from the meditation the identity between the poison and myself, just for the time being. In another case of drinking the poison, I will be killed. If I know the reason and scientifically raise myself up to that state of meditation, I can save anyone. That is what the books say. But how far it is correct, you must appraise. I am asked, why do you Indian people not conquer these things? You claim all the time to be superior to all other people. You practice yoga and do it quicker than anybody else. You are fitter. Carry it out. If you are a great people, you ought to have a great system. You will have to say goodbye to all the gods. Let them go to sleep as you take up the great philosophers. You are mere babies, as superstitious as the rest of the world, and all your claims are failures. If you have the claims, stand up and be bold, and all the heaven that ever existed is yours. There is the musk deer with fragrance inside, and he does not know where the fragrance comes from. Then, after days and days, he finds it in himself. All these gods and demons are within them. Find out, by the powers of reason, education, and culture, that it is all in yourself. No more gods and superstitions. You want to be rational, to be yogis. really spiritual? My reply is, with you too, everything is material. What is more material than God sitting on a throne? You look down upon the poor man who is worshipping the image. You are no better. And you, gold worshippers, what are you? The image worshipper worships his God, something that he can see. But you do not even do that. You do not worship the spirit, nor something that you can understand. Word worshippers. God is spirit. God is spirit and should be worshipped in spirit and faith. Where does the spirit reside? On a tree? On a cloud? What do you mean by God being ours? You are the spirit. That is the first fundamental belief you must never give up. I am the spiritual being. It is there. All this skill of yoga and this system of meditation and everything is just to find him there. Why am I saying all this just now? Until you fix the location, you cannot talk. You fix it up in heaven and all the world ever accept in the right place. I am spirit, and therefore the spirit of all spirits must be in my soul. Those who think it anywhere else are ignorant. Therefore, it is to be sought here in this heaven. All the heaven that ever existed is within myself. There are some sages who, knowing this, turn their eyes inward and find the spirit of all spirits in their own spirit. That is the scope of meditation. Find out the truth about God and about your own soul, and thus attain to liberation. You are all running after life, and we find that is foolishness. There is something much higher than life, even. This life is inferior, material. Why should I live at all? I am something higher than life. Living is always slavery. We always get mixed up. Everything is a continuous chain of slavery. You get something, and no man can teach another. It is through experience we learn. That young man cannot be persuaded that there are any difficulties in life. You cannot persuade the old man that life is all smooth. He has had many experiences. That is the difference. By the power of meditation, we have got to control, step by step, all these things. We have seen philosophically that all these differentiations, spirit, mind, matter, etc., have no real existences. Whatever exists is one. There cannot be many. That is what is meant by science and knowledge. Ignorance sees manifold. Knowledge realizes one. Reducing the many into one is science. The whole of the universe has been demonstrated into one. That science is called the science of Vedanta. The whole universe is one. The one runs through all this seeming variety. We have all these variations now, and we see them, what we call the five elements: solid, liquid, gaseous, luminous, ethereal. After that, the state of existence is mental, and beyond that, spiritual. Not that spirit is one and mind is another, ether another, and so on. It is the one existence appearing in all these variations. To go back, the solid must become liquid. The way the elements evolved, they must go back. The solids will become liquid, etherized. This is the idea of the macrocosm and universal. There is the external universe and universal spirit, mind, ether, gas, luminosity, liquid, solid. The same with the mind. I am just exactly the same in the microcosm. I am the spirit, I am mind, I am ether, solid, liquid, gas. What I want to do is to go back to my spiritual state. It is for the individual to live the life of the universe in one short life. Thus, man can be free in this life. He, in his own short lifetime, shall have the power to live the whole extent of life. We all struggle. If we cannot reach the absolute, we will get somewhere, and it will be better than we are now. Meditation consists in this practice of dissolving everything into the ultimate reality, spirit. The solid melts into liquid, that into gas, gas into ether, then mind, and mind will melt away. All is spirit. Some of the yogis claim that this body will become liquid, etc. You will be able to do anything with it. Make it little, or gas pass through this wall, they claim. I do not know. I have never seen anybody do it. but it is in the books. We have no reason to disbelieve the books. Possibly some of us will be able to do it in this life. Like a flash, it comes as the result of our past work. Who knows, but some here are old yogis with just a little to do to finish the whole work. Practice. Meditation, comes by a process imagination. You go through all these processes purification of the elements, making the one melt the other, that into the next higher, that into mind, that into spirit, and then you are spirit. Spirit is always free, omnipotent, omniscient. Of course, under God. There cannot be many gods. These liberated souls are wonderfully powerful, almost omnipotent, but none can be as powerful as God. If one liberated soul said, I will make this planet go this way, and another said, I will make it go that way, there would be confusion. Don't you make this mistake. When I say in English, I am God, it is because I have no better word. In Sanskrit, God means absolute existence, knowledge, and wisdom, infinite self luminous consciousness. No person, it is impersonal. I am never Rama, never one with Ishvara, the personal aspect of God, but I am one with Brahman, the impersonal, all pervading existence. Here is a huge mass of clay. Out of that clay, I made a little mouse, and you made a little elephant. Both are clay. Melt both down. They are essentially one. I and my father are one. But the clay mouse can never be one with the clay elephant. I stop somewhere. I have a little knowledge. You a little more. You stop somewhere. There is one soul which is the greatest of all. This is Ishvara, Lord of Yoga, God as creator with attributes. He is the individual. He is omnipotent. He resides in every heart. There is no body. He does not need a body. All you get by the practice of meditation, etc., you can get by meditation upon Ishvara, Lord of Yogis. The same can be attained by meditating upon a great soul or upon the harmony of life. These are called objective meditations. So you begin to meditate upon certain external things, objective things, either outside or inside. If you take a long sentence, that is no meditation at all. That is simply trying to get the mind collected by repetition. Meditation means the mind is turned back upon itself. The mind stops all the thought waves and the world stops. Your consciousness expands. Every time you meditate, you will keep your growth. Work a little harder, more and more, and meditation comes. You do not feel the body or anything else. When you come out of it, after the hour, you have had the most beautiful rest you ever had in your life. That is the only way you ever give rest to your system. Not even the deepest sleep will give you such rest as that. The mind goes on jumping even in deepest sleep. Just those few minutes in meditation, your brain has almost stopped. Just a little vitality is kept up. You forget the body. You may be cut to pieces and not feel it at all. You feel such pleasure in it. You become so light. This perfect rest we will get in meditation. Then meditation upon different objects. There are meditations upon different centers of the spine. According to the yogis, there are two nerves in the spinal column called Ida and Pingala. They are the main channels through which the afferent and efferent currents travel. The hollow canal called Sushumna runs through the middle of the spinal column. The yogis claim this cord is closed, but by the power of meditation it has to be opened. The energy has to be sent down to the base of the spine, and the Kundalini rises. The world will be changed. Thousands of divine beings are standing about you. You do not see them because our world is determined by our senses. We can only see this outside. Let us call it X. We see that X according to our mental state. Let us take the tree standing outside. A thief came, and what did he see in the stump? A policeman. The child saw a huge ghost. The young man was waiting for his sweetheart, and what did he see? His sweetheart. But the stump of the tree had not changed. It remained the same. This is God Himself, and with our foolishness, we see Him to be man, to be dust, to be dumb, miserable. Those who are similarly constituted will group together naturally and live in the same world. Otherwise stated, you live in the same place. All the heavens and all the hells are right here. For example, take planes in the form of big circles cutting each other at certain points. On this plane in one circle, we can be in touch with a certain point in another circle. If the mind gets to the center, you begin to be conscious on all planes. In meditation, sometimes you touch another plane and you see other beings, disembodied spirits, and so on. You get there by the power of meditation. This power is changing our senses, you see, refining our senses. If you begin to practice meditation 5 days, you will feel the pain from within these centers of consciousness, and hearing becomes finer. That is why all the Indian gods have three eyes. That is the psychic eye that opens out and shows you spiritual things. As this power of Kundalini rises from one center to the other in the spine, it changes the senses and you begin to see this world another. It is heaven. You cannot talk. Then the Kundalini goes down to the lower centers. You are again man until the Kundalini reaches the brain. All the centers have been passed, and the whole vision vanishes, and you perceive nothing but the one existence. You are God. All heavens you make out of Him, all worlds out of Him. He is the one existence. Nothing else exists.